Okay, we hit 1 hour with this, and we're only at 44 minutes. It's a 2-hour interview. I'm getting the gist of it. I don't know how far we'll go. Sorry, my cat is just so vocal. She like sleeps all day and then wants to watch Nick Fuentes with me all night. But anyway, join me for the other, I guess, hour. We'll see. We'll see if I'm gonna finish this.
Leadership Institute people will get training from that group, and then they go and start a College Republican chapter, a Turning Point chapter.
So who would be a comparable of a Leadership Institute to today? Would TPUSA be a competitor of theirs, or no? They're more
they
like
work together.
Hillsdale. Are they?
They're very similar to Turning Point.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you're going there, and alumni includes folks like James O'Keefe, Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell. It's okay. Conservatives that gone to James O'Keefe. So it's not like it's just people that are maybe some would call rhinos. James O'Keefe is somebody he's pushed against the envelope many times. So you're there, you're thinking about going to that place. What happens next?
So I go there for a job training, and I'm thinking about dropping out of college and working for Leadership Institute. I go there for a job training. It's about 2 weeks. And it's in D.C., and you stay there in like a bunk dormitory-style living. And for 2 weeks, it's sort of this like boot camp, and they try to see what you're made of. It's a training to see if you're going to be a field representative where you go across the country for 3 months and set up these campus conservative chapters. And so I go there, and the first day that I'm there, they have everybody go up and down and introduce themselves. And they say, tell us your name, where you're from, and why you're a conservative. First day of a 2-week training. And they call on me, and I say, I'm Nick Fuentes. I said, and I'm a conservative because our country is becoming unrecognizable. I said, France is no longer France. Paris is no longer Paris. America is no longer America. Mass migration is changing what America is. I said, and I want to conserve what America historically has always been. Now, the first day that I say that, it turns out the instructor is Lebanon.
Nothing makes me more mad than seeing all this crazy culture clash, wars in France, UK, Spain, Portugal, on the Instagram. Like you have like Raging European, those kind of accounts. Ireland, right now there was a recent graping of a 10-year-old that people are raging about, naturally so. And then I see people from Canada visiting these places, having their little croissants, cappuccino, pretending like none of this is happening. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but this stuff affects me, and it makes me not want to travel to these places. And, like, I don't know, I guess I just don't like BS. I don't want to turn my back away from it, and I don't want to support it. I don't know, something wrong with me that like I have an issue with people going to these places and like, oh, everything is dandy, everything's fine. No, it's not.
Immigrant. She hates the statement. She takes my application and throws it in the garbage, but she doesn't tell me that. So I'm there for the whole 2 weeks, but I'm already disqualified.
Christian, Jewish, Muslim, she's a Christian?
I assume she was Christian.
Lebanese immigrant.
Right.
Okay. You remember that person's name? Or
I don't remember her name.
Okay. But how do you know she did that?
Because I had a friend that worked the training. He was Polish Catholic, very hard right, and he told me that's exactly what happened.
Okay. Do you know why?
Why she canceled because she took
Yeah, that sounds about right.
offense that I said something against immigration. Hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. If you want to text me or call me or ask me a question, you can find me on Minect.
Okay, so now we're going to comments you made about immigration, which is more nationalism, pro-America. I want to protect it. I don't want America to be a majority minority by 2030s. Right. I want us to keep our identity that we have. Okay, so she's offended by that. So now you can't go here.
Well, it gets better. So that's day number one. Why are you a conservative?
The worst is the woman.
Immigration's changing the country.
So emotional.
She hates it, disqualifies me. Now, I'm still there for 2 weeks.
We don't look at numbers.
That I'm never going to get because she already
look
threw
at
my application away.
statistics.
Well, the final day This is the best part. Final day of the
Look
training.
at how you make us feel.
We all the applicants had become kind of like a tight-knit group. We're all friends. We're literally living together. So we're sleeping in the same dormitory. We're doing these 10-hour job trainings every day. It's the last day. We already found out who's going to get the job and who isn't. I know I'm not getting the job. And so it's like 3 a.m., our last day. We're all in the common area, just hanging out. Late at night, we're talking about politics. And at that point, they realized I was a pretty far-right guy. I was maybe more far-right than anybody there. And we're all talking about politics.
Minus the Catholic,
and
Roman,
it comes up, we're
Roman
talking
Catholic,
about interracial
Polish
relationships and marriage. And I said, well, I'm not in favor of interracial marriages. That's against my values. I want to have a white wife. I want to have white kids. That's important to me. Now, there was a girl who was...
Just like if you're black and you want a black wife, I'm not offended by that. I respect that. I get it. Like, my husband is not Polish. And yeah, although we are both Slavic, we're so different. Like, his country doesn't really care for Poland. And Polish people love the Czechs. And the Czechs, they don't know why. They're like, why do you guys like us? Like, and they had like a joke, like, he had this basketball hoop, and they were playing basketball in Czech Republic, and it broke. And he's like, yeah, it's so funny. I'm like, so surprised he ended up marrying a Polish girl. But yeah, he was like, made in Poland. Oh, go figure. Like, that's how they look at us Poles. And then we love the Czechs. So I know in history we kind of betrayed the Czechs. Like, we didn't help them out. So maybe that's why they have the bad blood. But yeah. And he's like, yeah, the mentality is different than the Polish, the Czech mentality.
In the group, her name was Emily Faulkner. Now she's like a big pro-life activist. She's married. But at that time, she was in this little group. She pulls out her phone and she starts secretly recording me. She doesn't say anything, but she pulls out her phone, hits record, and she says, so wait a second. She goes, you're saying that if I have sex with a black person, that's the same as having sex with a dog? I said, no, I'm not saying that. I said, but I think race mixing's immoral.
What? How did she get that? What the So she's like, it's so crazy that her mind went to that. She's pretty much comparing it herself. Like, he didn't say that.
I said, I think they'd both be immoral. She takes that clip, along with clips of other things I said. She sends it to Cassie Dillon, because she knew and apparently was friends with Cassie, unbeknownst to me. Cassie Dillon sends it to a group called Reagan Battalion, and they post that all over Twitter. And it blows up on Twitter, and now I am like officially being canceled because of this secret recording taken at this Leadership Institute job training.
Is the video public to see?
It is.
Is it how bad is the video? Is it appropriate to just show?
You can pull it up, yeah.
Rob, can you pull it up? I'm actually curious on how bad the video is. It's on YouTube. What should he put?
I don't know. If you pull it up on funny search query.
That laugh.
That's not it. So
I don't know where you could find it.
Rob, you look forward. We'll continue conversation. If you find it, we'll come back to you. Okay. So she sends it. The Reagan.
This video you can't find. The freaking Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, assassination. It's brought to your phone.
Battalion posted all over X. At this point, if you had 1,000 followers when Ben retweeted you, where are you at now when this happens?
So I must have been at maybe 3,000-4,000 followers.
Okay, so you're still not somebody that has been, you got 100,000 followers. You're not at that level yet.
Right.
Okay. So it's interesting that you're getting under so many people's skin, even though you're not yet that influential. You may be amongst your circle because people probably know you're going to be somebody, you're going to be a player, but in the public eye, they don't.
It's because he made sense. He made sense. And people love La La Land. Why do you think we have trans? The Lululand is convenient. It's comfortable. Everyone's loved. Like, they couldn't brainwash him. He was thinking for himself. And that's why you have black sheeps in the family, because black sheeps see through the BS. They don't comply. They don't want to contribute. They don't want to add to it. They don't want to lower their brain capacity to it.
know you yet. So they're
Right.
trying to defame you early on.
Yes.
Is that a pretty good description?
Yeah, they were trying to throttle me in the
Okay.
clip.
So that happens.
I
Amy
did not know
Faulkner
this.
sends this to Cassie. Cassie then sends it to Reagan Battalion. Reagan Battalion posts it, and now you're saying you're being canceled. Define canceled.
So I'm being blacklisted from everything in the conservative movement, from CPAC, from Turning Point. This is when my name is getting the scarlet letter. I'm officially being kind of kicked out because they're saying, none of these people liked me, and they were all attacking me on Twitter constantly. But this was the moment when they said, we got him, because this is how this worked back then. Now, obviously, everything goes on Twitter and everybody's controversial. But back then, you had a clip like that, which was perceived as legitimately racist or anti-Semitic, and you're kind of done for. And that's what they did to me. Have you yet? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Have you yet walked up to Ben with his kid crossing the streets with his family, or no?
not
That
yet?
was years later.
That was years later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is good. Let's keep going with the sequencing.
Sure.
So that happens. If you went from 10 to 20 when she said, I'm blocking you, and a couple of the people at the Daily Wire did, then you go to 20 to 50 when you find out about the media matters and the messages being sent out to other places to censor you. Claims, but the other guy at RSPN called you saying, this girl keeps calling me, telling me what you said to cancel you last 2 weeks. That you know for a fact. Then this happens here with Leadership Institute. Then the Amy Faulkner situation video going to Reagan Battalion. Where do you go from here? If it goes 10 to 20, 20 to 50, where are you going? What
Now I'm
happened?
50 days.
I love that this guy is interviewing him and he's doing this. Like, I always liked him. I only saw little shorts with him and I'm like, wow, like, I had such good vibes from him, and I'm like, he's smart. I think he's a good listener, and I think he gave really good opinions and statements on things. So I love him more for doing this, because like this is how you evolve. This is how you grow. You listen to the opposing opinion. And he is really listening.
80.
Okay, so now it's like this is when you're born.
Mm-hmm.
And how old are you at this time?
Just about to turn 19.
So you're
Holy
still 18,
snap.
and this is what's happening to
Yes.
you.
Whoa.
Got it. So what do you do next?
Wow.
So
he just got
I have
some
to
like
defend myself.
mad respect
This video's
credit
going
for
viral,
him.
and
He
Ben
feels
Shapiro
it.
retweeted
He feels
by the
it.
way. Ben Shapiro quote tweeted that Reagan Battalion video.
100%? Are you positive?
100%. He said,
And what did he say?
This is very concerning.
Is that the video, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Can I see it, please?
Her in your daily existence by Jews.
I told you yes, absolutely. You laugh at it like.
How so? Can you?
Would you say that me having sex with my dog is the same thing as me having sex with a black man?
Wow, that's baiting.
But they would both be degenerate.
Oh, this.
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit harsh.
Well,
Could be seen as harsh, could be seen as disrespectful. If I was an African American, I would be very annoyed, upset, frustrated, angry with you. And
Well, like, let's say he says that about Polish people. I would just honestly be like, okay, then he's not, like, moving on. Like, okay, then he's not someone to spend your time with. That's how I would react to it. Like, crossed off, okay. And it's so crazy. Like, I'm down his hole. Like, I'm so invested in hearing what Nick Fuentes has to say, like, every day, all day. And it just makes more and more sense why Hollywood hates the Polish people. I've said it in my earlier reaction videos. I've said it when I was like Twitch streaming to my Twitch friends online. I was like, guys, something happened. I was watching something and then I went online to play World of Warcraft. And I brought it up because it was irritating me. I'm like, why does Hollywood dislike Poland? Hollywood is always chirping on us. You have two broke girls, Sophia, she's like mocking the Polish woman. You have just married Ashton Kutcher, he's a Polak, and the dad is like, he's a Polak, says it like that. You have freaking, what else was there? Oh, there was another good one. Oh, Bruce Almighty. The guy working the deli starts picking his nose like he's a moron. Like, they just keep chirping the Polish people, and I know why now. It's a rabbi hole.
Somebody could say that is racist.
In history, it took place in Poland. And if you wanted to stay alive in Poland, you would tell the people where to look. And the Jew rabbi hole obviously will not look past it. They will not forgive or forget.
And the average person, and I'm just talking to you, I'm trying to be
infiltrate
really
Poland
here. I don't
now.
have any gotcha stuff for you here. It's going to be a very easy interview as we're going through. That's kind of racist.
I agree.
Okay.
But let's remember the context. First of all, you saw that. That's
I
a
can't
3-second clip.
Yeah.
3-second clip, and you can't even see 80% of the screen
For sure.
because it's being hidden. Now,
That's so low.
you and I both know the way that we talk on a show like this
Right.
is very, it's like anything. You got to know your audience. Now, that's a 3 a.m. conversation with 18-year-olds. I think that we're all political people.
By the way, I'm also with you there, okay? Because I'm not one that condones that behavior. I've told my kids, I swear to God, if I had a conversation with my boys last week, I said, if I ever hear you use the N-word, I swear to God, you're not going to like what I do to you. Okay? They were going to a school. My kids were going to a school, one of the best schools in Florida that has the highest SAT scores and the highest focus on math. The owner of that school's
I don't
son
care about that.
says the N-word, who's a white guy, says the N-word. The father who owns the school, the board decides to kick his own son out of his school. Very weird situation that happens. So we're having this kind of a conversation. And one of my kids just went to Yale for 3 weeks for some summer camp that somebody else was holding in Yale. But he goes there, comes back slightly different. Language, you're kind of hearing what's going on, right? And I'm 46. I can't judge you because during my time, Instagram didn't exist, Snapchat didn't exist, YouTube didn't exist, phone cameras didn't exist. And let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff we did at nightclubs and Army and videos were on the way we speak at 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe not at this level. I've never said anything like this, but I understand that
guys
it's
will
risky.
be guys.
So at a
This
young
is guys
age,
for you.
you have to be aware you're a very smart guy. You have to be aware that kind of stuff gets caught, it's going to make it to public. So one, the responsibility is on you, but two, you have a higher risk
He's
you're going through
lecturing
because
him
you're
now.
part of the social media family, not social media family, social media generation that we didn't
He's
go
right.
through at 46.
Well, and I learned that lesson the hard way, but what is the lesson? The lesson is that this sort of thing, this is how political control is maintained, which is to say that we have a culture where you don't even have to do anything wrong. If you say anything wrong, ever, in public, in private,
Those
even if
text
it's not
messages
inherently
that got
wrong,
leaked.
if it sounds wrong, someone might be secretly recording and use it to make you look bad and then destroy your career or your reputation. And
Charlie
this is
Kirk.
enforced selectively. Like, let's keep in mind, take Shapiro, for example. And this is something I pointed out when this happened. When Shapiro was 18 or 19 years old, he wrote an article on Town Hall which said that population transfer is not a dirty word. In other words, meaning we need to take all of the Palestinians and kick them out of Israel. He's advocating for ethnic cleansing on his Town Hall blog. Now, you could say whatever you want about
Population
that.
transfer?
Yeah, transfer is not a dirty
Does that
word.
mean ethnic cleansing?
That's what the article defends, yes.
Can you pull it up? I'm curious because I want to be fair.
I like that. Be
is he
fair.
saying moving them from there to a different place?
Yes.
Like you can go to, all right, so raise your hand to Ben Shapiro, August 2003, which is 22 years ago. Raise your hand if you have shocked at breakdown of so-called Middle East roadmap. If you're raising your hand, give yourself a nice hard slap across the chops. Maybe that will make you wake up from your reverie of self-education. The roadmap was doomed from the start. The Arab Rob, I can't see it, enmity of Jews and the state Israel, no peace. The time for half measured has past bulldozing house of homicide bombers is useless, instituting ongoing curfews, users roadblocks, touch fences, meaning negotiations. Some have rightly suggested that Israel be allowed to decapitate the terrorist leadership of. Some have rightly suggested that Israel be allowed to decapitate the terrorist leadership of Palestinian Authority. Okay, so rightly meaning they're in the right to suggest that Israel should be allowed to decapitate. Decapitate is what? I mean, killing is the easiest way to put it, but decapitate, doesn't that mean to, what is the actual definition of decapitate?
They mean kill the leadership.
Kill the leadership.
But if you scroll down, the basis of the article is when he says transfer, he's saying population transfer. In other words, saying this should not be stigmatized.
Where do you see population transfer?
That's the title of the article is transfer is not a dirty word. If you read the whole article, that's the whole
I want to read the sentence, Rob. Go lower. Half measure trends indicates some global journalism. Here's the bottom line. If you believe that Jewish state has the right to exist, then you must allow Israel.
I don't know how you do that. I tried to read on my last reaction video about Hassan Abi, and damn, like, it's when you're on the spot like this, leading a freaking highly watched, highly viewed podcast, it's so hard to like zone in, and I wasn't, but I can just imagine how hard it is to get to what you're looking for.
To transfer the Palestinian and the Israel Arabs from Judea, Samaria, Gaza,
and actually understand
Israel
what you're
proper.
reading.
It's an ugly solution, but it's the only solution, and it's far less ugly than the prospect of bloody conflict ad infinitum. The two populations. So, okay, can you go to ChatGPT and type in what does? Give me the word. What does
Capitulation.
the right to transfer? What was the word?
Well, that's what the article says. He says remove the Palestinian Arab population from Judea, Samaria, Gaza.
How do you interpret what he's saying here? You're thinking he's saying to kill them?
He's saying to displace them, to take them and deport them somewhere else, some other
deport them
Muslim
somewhere
country.
else. Okay.
Yeah, how do you not
And
get
so
that,
to
dude?
you,
I got that.
I
got that.
Would you define that as ethnic cleansing?
By definition, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not ethnic cleansing, like just wipe them off the face of
It's
the
not
earth.
genocide.
It's
but
not
it
genocide.
is, by definition, ethnic
Okay,
cleansing.
got it.
And here's the point I'm trying to make is that is an extremely controversial statement. I mean, could you imagine if someone said whites and blacks can never live together in America? It's an ugly solution. We got to take all the black people and send them back to Africa.
Right.
That's racist.
Right.
Yes.
It's racist to say Arabs can't live in Israel. We should remove them all. He wrote that under his
course.
name on a blog, but he never got canceled for saying that. But I got secretly recorded when I was 18 in a private conversation, and people say, and he himself quote tweets it and says, this is concerning, to amplify it to everybody in the conservative movement. That's what I say. It is selectively enforced.
So true.
Yeah, but if he would have written this the other way around, let's say he's not a Jew, and he writes it about getting rid of Israel or making a comment about Jews, that would be the equivalent of saying having sex with a dog is the same as degenerate, the way you put it down. To me, that would be the equivalent, not this. And the reason why I say that is because in 2003, who's the president in 2003? It's not Obama. Is it Clinton? Is it Bush? It's Bush. Okay. So in 2003, how pro-Israel were we in 2003 in America?
Very pro-Israel.
Okay, so this is a probably a 80% agreed message in 2003. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to time the temperature of when it was written. Like if he wrote this today, I am sure it's not going to be 80% support that he's going to get. So 03, climate's different, fair. Continue, please, with after what happened with that school situation.
I like
Sure.
this
So-
guy.
So I'm at this job training. They leak this out to Reagan Battalion. This goes everywhere. And it was in that moment I defended myself very strongly because they tried to use this clip. And by they, I'm talking about Ben.
It's so funny. I thought originally that he went on the show. I saw the short of him explaining like he doesn't say the N-word anymore. And I know on Rumble, Nick Fuentes mentioned that he went on the show. And he was like jet lagged from it. But yeah, it's funny how I thought Nick Fuentes was bought by the Jews because he didn't believe the Jews are behind the assassination. And that this was like he's actually being now funded by the Jews. But there's that conspiracy that he is part of the New World Order. He's planted. People think he's fed. And anyway, yeah, it's just so funny. My opinion changed on that completely. Like, I really think that the guy interviewing him is just straight up, like, interested in him. And yeah, he respects him.
Shapiro, Cassie Dillon, Cabot Phillips, they think they've got it, and now I'm canceled from
Bathroom break.
the movement. So I took that, and of course, they're expecting you to go out and apologize. They're expecting you to go out and say, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that." But I said, you know what? I'm not sorry, because this is a political attack. This is not some kind of good faith, because you said the comment is racist. And would I phrase it that way if I was saying it in an official public capacity? No. But we tend not to do those things when we think we're in private, in confidence.
But the problem that I have with that is that he's even thinking that. Like, to me, that's so mean. And I know he's hostile and vulgar with how he delivers things to this day. But, yeah, to say it's degenerate. Girl, I'm talking here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's right. I don't agree with that. It goes back to what I was saying. Like, you can have a preference, but don't freaking judge and castrate it for the rest of the general population. Like, okay, I don't agree with it, but I'm not gonna freaking say it's degenerate. Like, I'm not saying my actual opinion here. I'm just saying, like, rhetorically.
You kind of understand that there's some discretion there. And that's not to say that I'm, thought I could get away with it, but we don't speak in a lawyerly way when we're among friends.
Do you believe that? You don't believe that, though.
What?
That's
that it's degenerate?
a good question.
I wouldn't say it's immoral. I don't know that I would say degenerate, but
Okay.
I would say it's contrary to my values.
How much are you saying that?
Well, he's on camera now, so he said it nicely. But at the time, he meant it. Let's not be fooled here.
That moment, because you're trying to be a shock jock and you're trying to get attention.
I wasn't trying to be shock jock. Think about the question that was posed. Let's just back. I want to know what you think about this. We're in a private conversation. A girl takes her phone out, starts secretly recording, and says, "Is having sex with a black man the same as having sex with a dog?"
Did you know she was doing that or no?
I didn't know she was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, listen. Yeah, you got.
What is that to you? That's a setup.
Nick, I'm talking to
That was
you
baiting.
in a way as if you're my nephew or my son. Not in a, don't take it as I'm this to you. I'm
No,
not doing that at
yeah.
all. I'm just talking to you
I
as
don't feel that from him at
I'm
all.
new to this game. I'm a business guy. So I haven't been, when I hear the histories, I don't know everyone's histories. When you don't know what you're talking about, you're right. We don't know the history of everybody, but we'll learn. We'll talk to everybody. The way I see it, Nick, is one of my kids is very.
I find this intelligent. That he's like open-minded. Open-mindedness to conflict. And he's not afraid to say, like, dude, you screwed up. That was racist, which it was. That was a really horrible thing to say. And I feel like, yeah, little 17-year-old boys would just. I remember when I was 17, boys around me were throwing like pop cans into the fire pit and just saying like the stupidest, like unfiltered minds. And now they're like super politically correct, these same people. And yeah, you just look back and you're like, they were kids. They were stupid. They were literally just saying whatever was funny, trending, they heard on TV, like manji cake. That's something that I heard daily in class. Mangiolo, something like this. Like, I went to school with a bunch of Italians and Portuguese. Cracker, that's another one. Like, just crazy stuff. And today, they wouldn't say it. I mean, no. Like, they're so politically correct, and mindful.
Very political, very political, more than I'm political, but he's in the climate. So he's always, yesterday he's at the Charlie's memorial, and this was one of the most difficult days of his life, witnessing Charlie pass away. I've never seen him. This is a very strong kid. 30 minutes on my shoulders going because of what happened with Charlie. He's sitting right there at the event, listening to everything for 5 hours, and he's loving it. It's not like, oh my God, I want to go home. I'm tired. Can we eat? Can we do this? He's all in it. The way I look at you and the way I look at Charlie is one of my kids is probably going to pursue this route.
Whoa.
And he's going to go into politics.
Whoa.
And I think you have an opportunity to mentor them to learn from the mistakes you made. Because whether you know it or not, you got a lot of kids that follow you. Okay? More than they follow me. There's more 13-year-olds following you than they're following me. This is not sarcasm. It's not a shot. I'm just the truth, right? Just like you were following maybe somebody and looking up at them. I think you got to be careful. But I also think it comes with the territory. Like when I was growing up, I was hanging out with gangsters in L.A. And I remember one day I'm in Vegas, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the street with a 15-year-old kid that's driving a car, and he's got a gun that I don't know he's got a gun. Guys pull up here to our left, handful of African-American guys. Where are you from, homie? Where are you from? He pulls out the gun. From New York. Boom, boom. I'm 15 years old. We're out there running in the streets of Vegas. Guess what? You got to be careful who you get in the car with. That could have been the last day of my life. Somehow I made it. I go upstairs. My dad see me. My heart's like shaking. That was the risk then. I don't know if so much of that is the risk today. The risk is what you just did.
No, it is.
You got to be careful what you're saying.
Well,
and that comes with certain, backlash and responsibility. But I also think...
Well, he's canceled already, so...
This is going to get me in trouble. I also think we should be forgiving. I also think we should be forgiven for Ben writing that, as well as you saying it. I also think it needs to be like, listen, yeah, I mean, maybe he said this. I don't know his upbringing. I'm trying to find that mom, dad. I've seen some stuff with mom and with some of the stuff she said, and maybe it's the influence from grandma. It's Mark Levin. It's not like you had a racist person. I don't see that. But we also have to be a little bit forgiving, because if we don't and we stoke it more, you're going to get worse and worse and worse, right? The next person is going to want to get even more and more radical. Let's go past this one. If you don't mind.
I don't like that he's trying to change Nick. Like, you should stop this. You should be careful. No, like, that's what made Nick Nick. Just don't agree with it. That's how I would say. Like I said, if he's saying Polish people are degenerate, okay. Like, Hollywood hates us. Okay. Like, no more opinions. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you can't change Nick. And I think that's what he's trying to do. But I don't like the thing of like trying to figure out what's his past like. Maybe he's like this because of his past. No, like, this is how he felt in the moment. I don't agree with it. That's his mess that he made at that time. And yeah, he definitely learned from it. And now that he's on this podcast, he's going to say things politically correct. But I'm 100% sure he's still talking like that. But not to that extent, because now he's older, more mature. Yeah. And I think he can see things at a, I guess, more mature way. Yeah, but that was horrible. Like, I don't care if the girl was recording and baiting him. Like, I know, like, when he said it, I'm just thinking he's 17 and stupid. Oh, play.
I just want to say one thing,
please,
if I can, because I hear you and I agree with you, and I try to tell my followers now. I shake my head when my followers are trying to be edgy or edgelording, trolling, whatever. I totally agree, and I try to be a better role model now. And in politics, you do got to be careful what you say, because you're right, and everybody's always watching. The only reason I say that is to kind of paint a picture from my entire 18th year on Earth. I'm an 18-year-old college freshman. It's not like I was out here being problematic, being hateful, being a monster. It's that a decision was made that I had the wrong views. And because I had the wrong views, there was a basically ceaseless political attack, which is, I make a tweet about the double standard on Israel, and Shapiro's amplifying that. I have a show, and someone's calling my boss saying, get this guy fired. Maybe they're collaborating with the left to get me fired. Up to and including strangers that I don't even really know are secretly recording me, setting me up. The point is, they made a decision, this guy's got to go, and they said, we're going to use in a careless remark to take the guy out. So, people see, here's a guy that said a bad thing.
I don't support that.
And I'm not saying you do. I'm just explaining that's the side that a lot of people don't see. They see the bad remark. They don't see the calculation.
And that's why I'm having these questions with you. And by the way,
appreciate that.
But I will say, if anyone was saying that about white people, I would probably, I would laugh. I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, if I'm being perfectly honest, if I was sitting there and let's say Nick was a black dude and he said that, I would find that funny. But yeah, you talk about like a white guy talking about black people because of this like serious racism that black people have faced in history. Even today, you have some rednecks saying something about them. Yeah, that hurts. I hurt on the black person's behalf. But again, I think it's a preference thing. You want to date someone who's white, date them. You're not racist for it. You want to date someone who's black and just stick to that. Well, like, who am I to change that? Like, you be you.
Wish this podcast existed, because I don't know if there's one where someone's asking you for people to know, how did you become the way you became?
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to take this approach with you. But let me go here and hold you accountable a little bit.
Thanks for doing
and
this.
Feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it.
Nice.
You're 27.
That's professional.
You're no longer 18.
True.
Yeah.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, you don't need to do it. Here's why you don't need to do it. Drop in the N word. Some of the words that you drop. I don't mind the F word, shit and all this stuff. I drop it all the time. I try not to drop it on camera, but I'm also not sitting here telling you I walk on water. And I say all the words, and I listen to hardcore hip hop. I listened to a lot of hardcore hip hop growing up. That was my taste of music.
So
I don't know if it was yours. It was for me.
Oh, I love him.
For a person who knows how to communicate
So
as
cute.
well as you do, when you use those words, you get an average person to question your intelligence. And you don't need to do that. You're above that. You're so talented. Why go there? Now, if you tell me, Pat, I'm just doing it because I don't want anybody like you to tell me that I can shut my, because I've gone through them. Fair, fine. You want to do that. I would just say, I want to show you something. Rob, can you pull up you ever read the book Power versus Force?
No.
Okay. So this book, Power versus Force, I read it like 23 years ago. I was 23 years old when I read it. Yeah, it had a very, very big impact on my life. The guy breaks it down on what types of leaders eventually get to a certain level of consciousness that they gain power naturally and they truly become a positive force to the world. Like, I believe Charlie's a positive force to the world. Mm-hmm. To me, I had, believe it or not, Charlie at number one spot. He's my number one draft pick. If I'm building a super team, he's my number one guy.
Thing, though.
No one was above Charlie. And there's a lot of guys, okay? No one. Mm. I respect all of them. I think they're very capable. But I thought Charlie was unique because of one specific reason. In this thing, he explains where if you look at all the way to, you see the third row where it says level. Mm-hmm. So go all the way down to the level. You see where it says shame. Mm-hmm. So shame. Like, I have relatives who are driven by shame. They're so tough to be around. They're living a tough life. That's not you. Guilt. I can't believe what I did 10 years ago. And they keep reliving this guilt. It's not you. Apathy. It's not you. Grief. That's not you. Fear. I don't think that's you. Desire. I don't know if that's you. Anger. Pride. Maybe. I was probably a fear, desire, women. And I was the one that wasn't as disciplined as you. I was very undisciplined when it came down to women. I just couldn't stop it. That was my vice. It wasn't video games. It wasn't porn. It wasn't gambling. It was women. So then you go to anger, pride, right? Pride. Screw you, Okay, no problem. Then comes courage. That's the first level of consciousness where you're entering. I think you have it. You have the courage to share there's a lot of risk in sharing your opinion. But then you go to neutrality, and then you have, which is, let me hear both sides out, and let me see what's going on. Then you're willing to speak to everybody. I actually think you're willing to speak to anybody. I wouldn't say you're not willing to speak to anybody.
I think Nick is like, who wrote this?
And then you got acceptance that we're different, and then you got reason, and then you got love. I actually believe Charlie was at reason and love. And I don't think anybody else in the movement is at reason and love. I don't think anybody else. This is my opinion, how I process this. When I watch you and I see what direction you're going and what your upside is, my only feedback on this topic that we're having, consider this feedback from a person who's never spoken. You and I, just so audience knows, how many times have you and I spoken?
0.
Have we ever DM'd each other?
Never, no.
Have we had a phone call with each other?
Never.
By the way, I think this is very important for the audience to know this. The guy paid for his own flight. Oh. We pay for your flight to come down here. We pay for your driver. We pay for your hotel. Didn't let do that. I actually respect that. Mm-hmm. That was your way of saying, hey, I don't want anybody to say this. I just came here. Whether it's because of safety reason, whatever, I respect all of it. The fact that you did that. And I think the audience needs to do that. Know that because they need to know where your character lies.
Wow.
All I'm saying is pump the brakes a little bit. And here's why. I wouldn't mind coming back to the story, but we can transition back to this because I still want to know the history. Let's go back on what happened this week not this week, 12 days ago, I think it is now. Charlie Kirk, right? And you know what clips are going viral with you. A month ago, you're calling out, what do you call it? Turning Point USA. And I don't know what you said, but you said it. You know what it is. You can fill in the context on what you said, right? I'm not going to play the clip. But you were saying something. It's the clip where you're at the top and the other one's at the bottom, right? What you said before, and now it's like, hey, listen, Charlie was a Christian. He was trying to do this. You were very complimentary about Charlie. Okay. And Charlie Kirk got assassinated. Mm-hmm. And you've had death threats of people coming to your door, right?
Yeah, he
and things happening. How much has the last 12 days... Because, at first they're like, well, it's Israel. You're like, no, it's not Israel. You're actually a person that I would have thought would have been the first to go there. You actually said, no, I'm not going there. Charlie, Nick is a Fed. All right. This person's CIA. All right. That kind of went away. Didn't have a long lifespan. It's gone. Hey, it's the Groypers that did it. It's your creek. It was out of the 13 questions, 11 were Groypers, whatever the number was. I may be wrong. I don't want to... Don't fact check me on what the numbers, but I read somewhere that a number of the people that asked the question were Groypers. Groypers asked me a question when I was at Amphis, when the guy got up and said, how come you've never had Nicholas J. Fuentes on? And I said, he's got to stop saying the N-word. And this is when you kind of came back and reacted to the video. How are you processing this with Charlie Kirk? I've seen the tweets, I've seen the videos, but how are you processing this?
Well, on a personal level, it's terrifying. Because he was out there and he got blown away doing what we all do, which is a public event or something like that. And of course, the same thing happened to me last year. Somebody came to my door with a gun while I was doing my show and tried to kill me. And so you realize we do really have a problem in the country with this kind of violence.
So
that was kind of the first level.
Because he had a crazy lady
My first
at his
reaction
door.
is I didn't know if this was some lone nut job. Is there some kind of coordinated attack? If there would be copycats or something. But then on a deeper level, and people are calling me a hypocrite because I had complimentary things to say about Charlie, even though he was my adversary in politics. But I don't see it as a contradiction. I disagreed with him. I still disagree with the things he said. And my views on him from a professional point of view hasn't changed. What I have processed is the reaction to the killing from all of his fans and from people. You see that millions of people were touched by his activism. And I looked at his activism in a very one-dimensional way, which is that he's pro-Trump, he's pro-Republican, he's pushing the talking points. We would call it Talking Points USA. That was kind of the joke.
TPUSA Talking Points.
Right, Talking Points. His job is to go out there and sell, the party. But seeing the outpouring of support, I saw a lot of young people that were emotional. Young men, young women going to the vigils and actually distraught. And I think they were distraught, one, because it was so evil what was done to him. To see that kind of violence was really upsetting. But also I think people were touched because Charlie Kirk, it does put things in perspective when a person dies. I don't believe he was a bad man. I disagreed with him. I didn't like his politics. But what I have come to respect about him is that he was a very hard worker. He was kind. You noticed that when he talked to people he didn't like or disagreed with. He was open to other people. He changed his mind, even when he dealt with me. And he was never particularly nice to me, let's just say. But he was to a lot of people. And maybe more than anything, the thing that touched people the most was his testimony of his faith, that he believed in God. And, I didn't like what he advocated for politics, but what he advocated for Christianity. Yeah. That's the part that people are going to remember him for. That's the part that people, when they think Charlie Kirk, they don't think of the Republican debate bro. They think about a guy that was preaching marriage, values, decent Christian values.
Liberals remember him as the debate bro. Liberals do not align him with Christianity at all. They think he was like a horrible person and that he wasn't practicing Christianity at all.
Values, Christ himself and his sacrifice on the cross. He was Protestant, I'm Catholic. And when they held the memorial yesterday, I'm going to tell you the truth, I thought there were things about the memorial that were distasteful. But one thing that was exceptional about it is the way that the name of Christ was proclaimed to everybody. And I think that, when you see someone die like that, the reason it's jarring for people is because we realize that we're all going to die. Suddenly, unexpectedly. And like him, he's 31 years old. Nobody expects that a 31-year-old with that kind of money and influence is going to die all of a sudden. He had plans. He was going to get on his private jet and fly to do another event some other time. Nobody expects that you're going to die, someone like that at that age. And when you see someone like that cut down so viciously, you realize how life is so fragile and it's so temporary and it's so short. Any day we could all die. And what that then naturally makes us think about is, well, what does it all really mean then? If you could get stopped in your tracks at any time like that, what actually really matters in life? And what mattered about Charlie, when you see in the end, is it's not actually the times when he was maybe taking the piss and saying, what is a woman? It's the times when he was sincerely professing his faith, talking about moral virtues and the moral virtues that he lived in his deeds. And so to me, I guess it was a change in perspective, kind of realizing everybody asks the same question, how will I be remembered? When we get unexpectedly killed or when we die or when bad things happen. And it's a challenge to kind of live every day thinking, could today be the day?
Yeah.
And what did I do on my final day?
I live every day like that. I told you guys that, especially when I had my babies, my postpartum, I was literally an anxiety ball. Every day there was a time where I was able to drive to the gym because my husband's mom was here and he actually lost his job during that time. So she would stay with them once they went to bed, and then I would, instead of doing this, I was spending my time at the gym. And the whole drive there and back, I'm like, what if I die? What if I die? Like every day I was treating like this could be my last day. And then I think because of Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, I saw them on TikTok appearing and speaking out about God and like how we've forgotten our Christian values and all that. And then that clip in one of my reaction videos I added, it's a Charlie Kirk clip, I believe, of the girl talking about the Bible and how literally everything, all our problems today have answers to them from the Bible. And the second I remembered that God is in control, it's not me, like Jesus take the wheel, all my anxiety just went away. Because I believe in God, I believe in his plan. It made me less afraid of dying. Like, it's just so crazy when I put my trust and I remembered God again, that ball of energy, anxiety, like, I just felt like, yeah, I guess when I know I'm not in control, God is in control, it put me into ease.
How did I act? Did I tell the truth? Was I courageous? was I kind? Not just to my friends and my family, but also to my enemies. So I think it brought people to the center a little bit, centered in a spiritual sense.
Did you at all watch it yesterday where you had moments of sitting there saying, this was a good guy, man. Shit, I wish I would have changed the approach with our relationship. Did you at all have that moment?
No.
I don't know that I would have changed my approach because politics is vicious, and that's just the game. He was vicious to us. We were vicious to him. But I do think that I harshly judged him. I think when anybody dies, you feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think especially since he
when
died.
anyone dies, that's in our religion, Roman Catholic, to let go. Any kind of hardship, tension, bad blood, you're supposed to let that person rest in peace. You let go of the bad and you let them rest in peace. You pretty much sweep it under the rug. There's no point of holding that against someone who's passed. You let go and forgive.
You look at him and you realize this guy was not actually the worst guy in the world. He was kind of my nemesis in a way. And maybe I was his on the right wing. But I realized that we had so much more in common than we disagreed with, actually.
So do you think when you hear the statement, let's find a way to lower the temperatures, do you in your mind say, shut up with this lowering the temperature bullshit, stop it, lower the temperature? Do you know what's going to, do you hear that message now and say, maybe we got to lower the temperature? Hey, maybe if I get all these...
I don't like that this guy's trying to change Nick. Like, we know who Nick is. He's not going to change. Sure, the N-word is unnecessary, but I get why he practices it, because it's his freedom. But, and there's a lot of black people who actually support that idea. I don't like that he's, like, kind of... Like, Nick is who he is because of who he is. Don't try and change him. And like, he's not coming onto this show to tell you, like, hey, maybe you should stop being on the fence and pick a side.
Young guys that are following me, how Christ-like am I being? What am I? This whole WWJD, I had a call with somebody 2 days ago. I won't mention the name, but also very talented and capable. Very. Person I believe in tremendously as well. And we also, have had a challenge. But I said, listen,
it's so funny, his little chart, how he scaled Nick Fuentes so low in comparison to Charlie Kirk. Like,
time as I'm going through this.
Did you hear yourself?
And I'm out there. I took my kids. Everyone's like, don't take your kids to, what do you call it? The Charlie's and I said, no. I'm taking my kids. I believe in God. I have faith. And if I move forward with fear, what a coward. I'm a leader. I'm a leader amongst leaders. We're going to go there.
That's
they
what
sit
I
there
did
proud.
with my
We're
anxiety.
good. Of course, we make the investment for security and all that stuff, but we got to go. We can't change our life dramatically where we're seen as being cowards, right? We're never going to do that. This is America. It's the greatest country in the world. I'm going to do my part. My life has changed because of God, Jesus, America. I am the luckiest human being alive. That is my feeling, the vibe that I have, right? But when you hear the words, we got to lower the temperature, what's the first thing you think about?
I think it's kind of just a wrong perspective on it because, I'm an intense person and I think that this is a decisive moment for America. And, what really made me beside myself is not necessarily that someone killed Kirk, because there's a lot of crazy people out here that unfortunately do carry out acts of violence. It was that there were like 100,000 liberals who are in their right mind that were celebrating, that were glib about it, that crashed vigils, that danced, that laughed, that mocked it, that said it was a good thing, he deserved it. And you realize that it is a battle between good and evil. And I don't believe that when you're fighting evil, you lower the...
That's why I am the way I am today right now. Like, I don't want any LGBTQs in my face, in my profiles, in my circle. Like, I have taken it up a notch or 100.
Intensity. I think that we must very intensely fight evil because we have to win. If we lose, and by we, I mean decent people, they're going to hurt us and they're going to destroy the things that we care about. So for me, it's not necessarily about intensity.
It's a
Temperature,
wake-up
I would say
call.
intensity. I think we should all fight for what we believe in intensely every day.
Yes.
I would change it and say it's really a question of love and hate. It was a hateful action to kill Charlie Kirk. It's a
Yeah.
hateful action to
It's
celebrate.
as hateful as it
I think that
gets.
we should be intense, but we should also move in love. And what that means is, I said this on my show.
Love what we love.
People kill each other with bullets and literally murder each other and take their lives. We also kill each other by destroying each other's reputations. When we lie about somebody, when we gossip about somebody, when you go and actually do the examen of conscience at confession at a Catholic church, and you go through all the different sins and you say, because you have to contemplate, you have to confess everything, every mortal sin, you have to confess all of it. So first you examine it systematically.
And if you don't, you play it safe and say, for these and all my sins, I am truly sorry, and ask for God's forgiveness.
Have I done this? Have I done that? And one of the violations of the commandment, thou shalt not kill, is gossip, detraction. It's attacking somebody with a lie. Because that's a form of killing somebody in a certain sense. It's a form of damning somebody. And so I wouldn't say we need to lower the intensity, but we should always move in love. And by that, I don't mean some kind of like new age and move in love, very vague and non-specific.
Totally get it. Yeah.
But I mean, we should want what's good for everybody. We should will the good for us and also even for our enemies too and for the whole country. And so that's why I said my first reaction when I did my show, a lot of people said, well, we now got to go and kill two of theirs. They killed one of ours. Now we need to get violent. Now we got to go and pick up arms. How many's too many? I think there were, not anybody notable, but I think there were a lot of people that were thinking that.
On the conservative side.
I think so.
You think so?
I do.
Are you saying groypers, or you're saying like what part of that? Because are you saying groypers?
No, absolutely not.
You're saying just conservatives, period.
I'm saying, yeah, I think that, do you think that after people saw Charlie Kirk get murdered, there weren't at least some people that said, we have to match the left?
Perfect. I'm glad you brought that up. So my initial reaction, I'm a very bad person. Very. Initial reaction is vengeance, right? That's normal. Initial. But
My initial reaction was, I have no time, no brain space. I don't want that shit in my life. That was my initial language. Like, it's over. I'm done looking you in the eye and giving you the space to breathe around me. Get lost. Demons be gone. Bye.
that's the part where, there's certain people that will come say stuff about me. They say it all the time. You've got money from Assad. We don't do sponsorship money here. We haven't taken sponsorship money for 2 years. The only thing we take is AdSense, and that's what YouTube does. We don't pick and choose what it is, right?
Wow.
But they'll say stuff like that. Doesn't bother me, because it's like, if you fight it, they're going to do more of it. So you're going to, that's what bothers them. Let me keep going. Nah, I'm good. I'm going to do your part. Maybe if I was in my 20s, I would constantly fight that over and over and over again. I'm not. To me, I also think there's a moment here, where we have a moment. I feel like within the Conservative Party, there's a lot of different gangs, okay? In a mob, if you go study the history of the mob with Lucky Luciano, when they created the commission, all these different families came together, right? It doesn't mean we're buddy. Hey, how you doing? Everything's good. That's not what that means. It just means, listen, at the end of the day, maybe the enemy isn't who we think the enemy is, okay? Maybe you and Charlie, 90%, I don't know, 80, 90%, you were on the same page. Is it worth us getting this nasty over the 10%? I don't know.
Nick is way more extreme.
I don't know. I feel we're at an era right now that I think all the voices matter. And I think, I don't know what your aspirations are long term. Do you have any aspirations to run for office one day?
Potentially.
Okay, potentially. Do you think Charlie was going to one day run for office?
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I said that all the time. I think you probably have some plans of one day running. They showed me a clip when he said, I want 100,000
I
people
vote Nick.
that are
I'm not even American.
making money, low-key, underground, nobody knows, where you're kind of breaking that down. Okay, great. So you want to run for office one day. Great. You have your own certain ideas, philosophies that you want to go. But I think that this next part, as we go through it, this is an MLK moment. This was the MLK of Republic.
Charlie was more of a saint compared to MLK. MLK was into like orgies and whatnot. But yeah. And I think MLK was more for division, no? From what the internet world has told me.
And conservatives, even though Martin Luther King was a Republican and his wife called Nixon to get some help, they didn't call back, and then he called John F. Kennedy. She called, and then that's when they flipped. I'm going to be a Democrat, and then next year, and then you got Barry Goldwater, and the whole thing is a mess. African Americans were conservatives for many, many years, statistically. My question for you is, how is your approach going to change moving forward? Are you still planning on?
Okay, we just hit another hour. I don't know if I'm gonna get through this last 20 minutes. Am I posting 3 videos? Wait and see.